Okay, can we start the meeting, please? It's just gone 7:30. We are all here. One councillor has to dash to go and get his glasses, but he's here. So we haven't got a report of absence. So the first agenda item is to receive apologies for absence. There are none.
Just Carol Paternoster sent her apologies.
Are there any councillors, any personal or professional interest in the items on the agenda?
No.
I have to declare an interest in one of the items when we are discussing the quotes for the maintenance work on the pavilion.
No.
Okay.
I am declaring an interest in that.
Okay. The next.
Quite happy to say what my interest is if anyone wants to know, but since I don't vote anyways, not that big of a deal.
No, I'm quite happy with that. The next item is to approve the minutes of the last meeting. They've obviously been circulated in advance to all councillors, so have we got any further comments before we approve those? Yes? Okay. I'll propose the minutes. No one second? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you. The next item is public participation. If the public have got anything they would like to discuss, ask, mention to us now, please do.
Can I ask, please, if the planning application that's posted down opposite Dale for 29 houses, is that to do with the Brook Street 29?
Yes, it's the same.
Right, same one.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
they've changed the plan slightly. We've got them somewhere, but they've just, I think they've altered the access slightly
Oh, right.
to the site.
And is there any news on the 93 houses on Aylesbury Road?
The ones near you, no.
Nothing?
That hasn't gone to committee yet.
No,
has
it hasn't gone to committee yet.
Right, I think it's a disgrace that planning notice is still up with the 16th of December on. Well, I know that people have looked at it, date's gone by, so they're not objecting to anything because it was missing for what, 6 weeks, and then went up and it went back up after New Year, was it? And it's got the 16th of December. Well, people will just walk by and take no notice of that. So I think that's very poor for Aylesbury planning.
Yeah, it was pointed out to him at a meeting Elaine and I went to, that we went to an IT meeting and it was a planning lady there, Sue Renshaw, and that was mentioned to her from other parish councillors that some of these notices are missing. And they're not put up, and the point was raised through to ABDC. They've got to be on the ball a bit more, and they're thinking now that when they put that up, they're taking a photograph of it to prove that it was there, and that's then going to somehow find its way onto the planning file, so that no one can turn around and say it wasn't there, and they're going to try and beef up the fact that the things go there on the right time.
Well, they put it on the recessed gate into the field where nobody could see it anyway. And I removed it and put it on a post on the roadside. But of course, as I say...
Yeah, that it has had a lot of objections anyway, that land. So that will, I guess, be coming up towards the strategic planning committee. It'll be called
Right.
the full committee. So the parish council, we can speak against it, and the developer will speak for it. So I think it's going to committee anyway.
Right,
It's worth
thank
saying
you.
that the council will well, before the committee will normally still accept the objections and still put objections on the site. I appreciate long past the date, people don't think that they have the right to. But if you do right now and object to that particular development, they will still accept the objection.
Yeah, they do, because I rang them, actually. Yeah.
But I agree, it's not ideal when the thing goes missing.
Is it by law that they do have to post up a planning notice and take it down
Yes.
after the date that's specified on it?
It's law they have to post it. I'm not sure about the removal.
I don't think there's
Right.
any law to say they have to remove it, because you can see around all over the place wherever
Yeah.
you go. Lots of these things are very out of date. They do have to by law post it. Yeah.
Yeah,
They do.
thank you.
Are there any other points or comments in the? Okay. We can move on to the next agenda item then, please, which is the clerk's report.
Right. So the new year has got off to a very busy start with lots of plans coming to fruition and several additional meetings. Our park improvement project has entered its second phase with the installation of the overspill car park and the new pathway down to the Mugger skate park and beach. Having watched mums with pushchairs struggle in the mud to access the play park, I'll be very pleased to see all members of our community being able to access our facilities. We're well aware of the current disruption, and I'm reminded of the saying, you can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs. However, I would ask both members and the public to bear with us and wait for the finished product before we panic. The contractor has promised to make good on the damage as far as is possible, and we will also be looking at how best we can add to that if necessary. The next phase will be the new skate ramps and the integrated play equipment, both of which are scheduled for this spring, and then the picnic area later towards the summer. On that note, congratulations must go to Councillor Wyatt, who applied for funding from the Tesco Community Fund. I'm not sure if I've got that name quite right, but it's Tesco.
Yeah, community.
And we've recently heard we've been shortlisted into the top 3 projects for that funding, which means that even if we come third, we'll still get something. This now goes to a public vote, and we're awaiting instructions from Tesco as to how we're allowed to publicise our project in order to gain public votes. The money will go directly towards new play equipment in the play park to enable disabled children to play alongside able-bodied. In the coming weeks, we plan to spruce up the pavilion. Some long overdue maintenance work will take place, which we hope will see the building up to its planned demolition over the next few years. We're also having a team from the Probation Services Community Service Programme coming to us every Wednesday afternoon, and they will be cleaning the outside of the pavilion as well as other cleaning up jobs in the park and in the village.
Thank you very much. The next agenda item is the Finance and Staff Committee. Susie.
Our main one, we went through our monthly budgets and looking at our own budget in a moment. We also had a review of the overall budgets, and we're pleased to see that we're going to actually be in a healthier position than we thought at the end, so at least we stand in between a predicted amount, not quite in line with what we want with NELC for passing on to the next year, but enough to so we're not worrying or panicking, particularly with the cutbacks we're getting from the county council. The other then main thing is then looking at approval of expenditures. We'd like to have a look at this month. I know it's been circulated round, and we did have one extra that came in for paying of the paving for the overspill car park that's in there, that's just been highlighted as well. So are there any questions over the budgets there and spending?
Did everyone get the late one that came in?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was emailed around
Yeah.
today.
Yes.
Anyone need to see that?
No.
So if I can propose to agree that the clerk pay the outstanding invoices.
I'll second it. Everyone show of hands, please.
The other thing that we were discussing, looking at, and I know an email came round about it, was the defibrillator package. There was 3 different packages that we're looking at for the insurance-wise, and put under silver, bronze and gold. We felt, after debating and looking at what the different offers were offering, we felt we wanted to go for the gold package to ensure that both the projects continue. And then in a few years' time, we're not left in a position where we can't finance the next one.
Does anyone need the information that I circulated earlier today?
Right.
And that's
No, I've read it. Can I ask a question about that? The difference between the gold, I think it was 169 the basic, wasn't it, up to 500 for the other one, so
Yeah.
like about 300, or 126 it was the basic, up to 374 more for the other one. And what I see we got on extra for that was a bit of training and refresher. Who would that apply to?
Are you comparing the bronze to the gold or the silver?
No, I'm
to the
looking
gold?
at the basic one, for instance, but I realise if you go to the gold, you will obviously get some annual training and refresher, won't you?
I think
Yeah.
you're missing the largest point on the goal.
Is that you actually
Is that
get...
you-
No, I'm going to move on to that.
Oh.
We're going to move on to that. What exactly is the training refresher and who is that for?
Right, that's whoever within the community would like to participate in doing it. And it's up to 50 members of the public if they'd like to come along for first aid awareness, how you use the defibrillator. You don't have to have the training to use the defibrillator, but for those who want to be more aware of it and have extra training with that, that's on offer.
And is that something that we thought about when we first did this proposal?
Yeah, the reason why I went for this particular package when I looked at the other ones is it was going as a whole community project rather than just purchasing a defibrillator, putting it in a position somewhere and people not being aware of it. So being a whole promoted community project rather than just buying a defibrillator.
Okay, so that would take us up to to get the training refresher. Then you need the 350 one, the silver.
With
Is that correct? You don't get any training refresher with the bronze.
But no, you don't.
Okay. Right, and then you have to go up, and you're then proposing another 150 for the gold,
Yeah.
which is giving you over 10 years a replacement.
No, it would be less than that. You need replacement for the defibrillator is under the warranty of the defibrillator. So then within 7 to 8 years, you're not within the warranty, and that's when the money would be then there to get the new defibrillator. That's the part of the insurance package. The money is then there to replace the defibrillator once it's gone past its warranty life.
And the warranty life is between 7 and 8 euro,
Yeah.
not 10.
That's no, 7 and 8 is what they say.
Because
within
it says to fund a replacement after 10 years there. Doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's between, depending on which defibrillator you go for, because we're going for the top of the range one, they're saying between 7 and 8.
I think that's
Okay.
my mistake then, Colin.
No, that's all right, that's fine. In fact, I think that argues more for your case than against it, because I was thinking the amount of money we're spending on that, we could fund it by putting the money in the bank almost and have some left over. But if you're saying it's 7 to 8 years,
Yeah.
and you're putting 150 away, then and the cost of it is 2,200 quid, then we're doing well. If you get it for 7 to 8, but if it's 10, I always thought it was a marginal gain. That was my reasoning behind my questions. But okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions on this particular item?
Can you remind us where they're being put?
There's one going to be directly outside the school with the gates that go in next to the council board there. So then that's easy, accessible to anyone, and then we can run the electricity through to the caretakers. So it'll be a joint school project then as well. And then the other one we haven't finalised, but we've said it needs to be in one of the buildings along here because again we need the electricity running through to it.
Should we move to a vote, move to a vote on that one? Can I propose the motion, please? Okay,
Seconded.
Show of hands, please.
And that's for the gold package.
Yes. The next agenda item is insurance costs. Who's talking to that one?
Did you all receive the email I sent round on
Yes.
that?
Yes.
We're covered for public liability no matter what. Once it's our asset, it's covered for public liability. So it's really the loss and damage, whether you want to have extra coverage for loss and damage, which for the mugger will be £475 a year. And for the War Memorial, which was recommended by the auditor last year, would be £182 a year. The footpath is a whole other story, because where do you start?
Why don't you start anywhere? Because it's a footpath. We don't insure the car park, we don't insure the grass, we don't insure the little fences and things. You know, it's being laid, it has a warranty with it, if bits fall out of it in early days they'll be repaired. And beyond that, it's just a maintenance issue. And I think to some extent the same's got to apply to the mugger, because they ain't going to come along and nick it, are they?
No.
Yeah, but they can damage it.
But they can damage the swings that we have, and I don't believe they're separately insured for.
No, I agree with you on that.
I don't agree. I think we should insure our assets personally. But Paul?
Thank you, Chairman. I think we've had a claim this year already on play equipment, if I understand.
Oh, that's public liability, isn't it? That was,
Was it?
Yes, that's under our public liability insurance.
Is that the man?
Yes. that's an injury claim. The injury claim is that's public liability insurance.
Okay.
That's
So definitely it was public liability?
Yes.
Okay.
yeah. This is damage to the
To the
actual property.
Did the mugger cost, what did it cost to install?
Over £100,000.
100,000, okay. If the thing's completely destroyed, a group of lads or something wreck it one night, and we have to put it up and replace it, we haven't got 100,000.
No.
We didn't have 100,000 in the first place, we got it as a grant. So we were given the money. So if we think we can afford to replace it, if it's damaged or smashed out, fine. But I would say any sensible parish council would insure its equipment.
Agree. Listen.
Okay, I was going to say, just to ensure that one item, not the path. Take it item by item.
There's there's two items there. One for the mugger and one for
Yeah,
the
okay.
war memorial.
So we can, yeah, we'll have to do that. Okay.
So I mean, if we make it, the path is a different issue. I agree. But I guess a reason that people do insure paths of this type is because people, funnily enough, do remove paving. They do take it. It's gone. I've known people have patios stolen. I've had patios stolen.
Just for the council on CCTV this time, yeah?
I agree now, I don't think we should insure a footpath, and I suspect you'll find half the claims that you try to get, if ever you try to get a claim, well, they back out of it. There'll be wear and tear, general damage. I think that's a pointless waste of money. And the Mooger, Paul said 104,000, that included the consultation, the digging up, the groundworks, the laying the surface and everything else. Wouldn't cost 100,000 to replace the bit sticking out the ground, nowhere near. And I can't imagine that that can be wrecked to that extent. You might get some board damage, you might get something. I'm against it.
I personally think it'd be negligent if we don't insure our assets. That's what people do with assets, you insure them.
There's
And
always
I
some-
can check the policy wording.
You need to check that very closely, and there's also risk reward with any insurance.
That's what I feel like working for them. I know you can say that back to front.
Maybe you do. There's always a risk and reward game, and I feel that it's not worth it. That's my view.
With regards to the model, at the moment it was a single laid surface, wasn't it, and a single flow surface.
The mugger,
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
So I have no idea at all the technicality of it, but if a section of that is damaged, I don't imagine it's just simply cut out and replace.
No.
It could be pretty extensive, and given that the most significant cost, as you've quite rightly said, isn't the upright, but could well be the surface, it seems to bear fruit that actually £500 a year to insure something that's going to cost far more than that too. I mean, the surface alone, I wouldn't like to speculate, but given the costings that we've had per pieces, we're about a quarter the size of that in the park alone, I've been close to £10,000. I should imagine that actually it represents good value for money.
I agree. Any other points or comments? So do we take, I mean, we haven't discussed it, I think, have we got a quote for the path? Or not yet?
No.
But let's leave the path out of it.
Yeah,
Footpath out of it for now.
What they were questioning was, do we want to insure for full replacement? And if not, then where do you stop? Where do you narrow it down to, replacing a bit or a bit more, or which section?
Yeah.
I think
It's
another consideration with these is when we're looking at our assets, have we got any guidelines or principles as a council so that assets above a certain fixed value we ought to be looking to insure on an individual basis? Those that certainly would fall outside of scope of being able to cover within
I can try to
contingency.
find that out.
Because I think that might be
Deferred
saying a good
decision.
line rather than saying, emotional, whether we do this one or whether we do that one or whether we do the next one. So cost of replacement and things like that.
I can ask the auditor, but I think we've already been advised to insure the war memorial.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
something-
yeah.
So I think that's, no one has said
I
anything
can
against
find
the
out
war
what the
memorial.
industry norm is from SLCC or one of those.
I do think that I've got to go with the comment, but the path, ensuring that is absolutely a waste of money. They'll walk all around us, anyone who doesn't. And when you look at it, the damage that can be done to it is going to be the removal of the blocks. And that's it. It's going to have to be very, very carefully organised to do that. I don't think it's feasible.
Well, I think on the path, I agree. I think let's defer the path for now, and maybe get some quotes to see how it works. So we've looked at it, so we've deemed not to just taken you. When you're trying to do things to show you're making proper decisions, you should actually show the process of decision making. So you may want to look at it, see what the quotes are, and then decide it's not worth doing. then you at least have decided it, and you've got an audit trail. If someone comes and says, why didn't you do that? You can't be accused of being negligent. So I think on the war memorial, I think see no reason why we can't vote for that now. On the mugger, I can't see a reason why we can't vote for that now. Colin?
Why would we deem to be negligent by not ensuring the footpath?
I'm not quoting the footpath, I'm just generally saying we should have an audit trail to prove you make a
Well,
decision.
no,
to
no,
about
because
things.
you mentioned the footpath.
I did, because I'm saying
And
let's
you
defer
said
that
I'm
for
getting
now.
some quotes to look at the footpath. And I'm saying, why do we don't even need to do that? I don't think we need an audit trail to show that we don't wish to ensure the footpath.
Okay, well, I think let's defer the footpath for now anyway, because you haven't got any
Yeah,
quotes. so we
I
can't.
agree with that. But
Well, if the mugger is an insurable asset, then it has to raise the question about the rest of the play equipment and the fitness trail equipment.
The
that's
skate
around the
park?
Yeah, the skate park. Is that, are we what really identifying is that we need a comprehensive review of our insurable assets?
Yes.
And that perhaps the right thing to do is to defer this motion for now, carry out a full review of what the assets are and what we think should be insured, what the recommendations are, and bring it back as a comprehensive package rather than doing it sort of piecemeal.
You can do that, but I do think we ought to show war more as it's recommended by the auditors.
War memorial I'm taking as a different
Yeah.
issue.
Okay.
It's the assets in the park I'm on about.
Okay, what are everyone else's thoughts on that?
No, I'd agree with that. Totally.
That's right,
Okay.
fine.
Are we all happy to defer the motion for now then, and to look at all our assets, see what we've got?
Yeah.
But I do think most people will insure their assets. I wasn't aware we hadn't insured the rest of them, to be fair. I wasn't sure we'd insured, but...
I didn't know either, I just assumed again.
So I don't think the skate park's insured.
No.
I know it's not.
Well, so I think I'm happy to take the war memorial as a separate issue.
Okay.
Because I think that has a certain value to the community, in a different manner to what
Yeah.
Yeah.
park assets do.
Beyond its price.
Yeah.
So should we defer most of the motion and amend the motion just to approve the insurance of the war memorial?
I would be happy with that.
Okay, so who's proposing this, the insurance for now, the war memorial, proposing the rest? Alan, okay, so John, second. A show of hands for the war memorial, it's just for the war memorial, but Emily. Okay. Okay, thank you. Nothing else on that point anyone wants to raise now? Okay. The planning committee then, please, Colin.
Okay, let's bring it up on here first. We had a meeting the other day. There was a couple of small applications. One was in Weston Road, one in Long Plough. One was a re-extension of the dormer, and one was the removal and replacement of a conservatory. Both of these were agreed by the committee to be not objected to. We are quite happy with those. There was a long discussion about the A41 application. This is the where you turn into the recycling plant off the bypass. There's a little bit of land off the right-hand side. It says A41 Aston Park, I think, or something like that. On the original grant for Arla and that surrounding land, including this piece of land, the bund, which is that big heap of earth that is alongside Arla with all the trees planted on it, is meant to be continued down towards the turning, so that whenever that small bit of land is developed, that is also shielded from the road and the village, if you like, the sound and everything else. That was one of it, and they've applied to have this removed. They wish not to have a bunding there, and they wish to just put semi-mature, I think was the trees there instead. We discussed this, we went away, we've had an email consensus about that, and we have decided that we originally objected to it anyway, so this is an appeal. We will reiterate our objection to removal of the bunding. Okay? The next two factors we did, which again is the land to the east of College Road, is the same sort of area we're talking about now, and just to the north further into Arla, where they wish to remove the restriction on having the noise from reversing vehicles suppressed at night, so that they can have these horrible reversing sounds from the hours of 10, I think, right through to 8 till 6 or something.
Yeah.
And there's two of them there, both the same really, and we obviously reiterating our objection to that. We don't wish to see that removed in any shape or form, because that noise travels a long way. The next item was the 29 dwellings at Brook Street, which those are referred to. There have been some slight amendments to that on the access as far as we can see. Not much else about that. We haven't objected to that because we don't think we've already got the outline planning permission for it. We see nothing fundamental in the change. One other thing we didn't discuss at planning committee, but I went to, which I report back now, we went to the strategic planning committee in the middle of the month, I think it was. Was that Peter? We went for that, was the middle of the month, which was for the 50 houses behind 93 London Road, and that Aylesbury Road, and we actually got that turned down by the ABDC committee, so they voted 5-4 against that. So that has been refused at the moment, and as far as we know they are going to appeal, but the appeal hasn't been lodged yet, so we'll see how that goes. Moving on, we then talked about Woodlands, which I'm sure you've seen and heard about, no doubt, displaying the Anthony Hall on the 23rd, I think it was. Well, there's not much. A lot of it is in our parish, a lot of it isn't, and essentially quite a few of us went to that and talked to the people there, and I'm sure some of you did as well. Essentially, this is funded by Bucks Advantage, which is a Bucks CC, AVDC, private company, and they're all invested together. And the idea really behind it all is all the money the developer puts in there, he funds the link road, which is the road from Woodlands roundabout up to the 418, which is the Aylesbury Leighton Buzzard Road. And they have another link road which they've got permission for, but they haven't purchased any land yet, which is going from the 418 round to the north to the 413, which is the road that goes out to Buckingham, I think, and that links into the Martin Dalby Way, which carries on around to Berryfield. So they're trying to get this link road around Aylesbury, and the other way you can do it is by selling off land to get a developer to come and put that road in, and that is essentially what this development is all about. So I suspect it will go through. I don't think there's no objection to be placed yet. None of us liked it because it's only at a pre-app stage or consultation stage. There's no application in yet. They propose to build another school there as well. There was no mention of a surgery also, I don't think, no, just a school. There's 1,100 houses going up there, if you didn't know, which is massive. We put the point that if this does go ahead, we would like to see the old main A41 through the, whatever it's called now, the B road through the centre of the village, sort of basically cut off where the turn is up the Tring Hill, where it goes to Wendover, and the other side of the roundabout here, between here and Berryfield's roundabout, Woodlands roundabout, so that people don't use this as a rat run to bypass that part, which is what they're going to do. We all know they do it now, and with these 1,100 houses get worse. The guy said, yeah, we'll look at that. Okay, whether they come to anything, I don't know. Not much more to say about that. Was there anything?
The length of time it's going to take.
Oh, 15 years. 15 years for the project.
What was that to complete it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What with the link road and all the houses?
That project, 15 years.
Colin, not an ask question.
Oh, sorry.
Just to make the point that although there isn't an application, it is possible for any member of the public to voice their views, concerns,
Yes.
On their website.
Yeah.
And it would be
Helpful if they did,
yes. I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah. I think you probably are.
Views. Paul.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to say, we can't pretend we didn't hear the question. So normally in a development of that size, the road is built first.
I think that was a stipulation, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Really?
That I heard when I went on the meeting.
So you build the developer builds the main road first, and then they build the land up around
That's what's
it.
happened up the other end of Aylesbury.
That's what they did in Fairford Leys. They
Yeah.
built the main road. That was the first thing they built. All the bridges, all the road bridges were built first before any houses were built. So that's a good thing in a way.
And that explains the timescale, doesn't it? So they build the road and then the houses come along.
Yeah.
And it gives the
Sections.
construction traffic somewhere to get.
Well, that's a plus, I suppose.
Yeah.
Can't see many others, And you,
Only just on a lighter note, they are proposing no surgeries, we said, or anything very important. They are proposing a velodrome.
oh yes, of course they are.
Which is
Something we
gonna be
really
of
need.
great
I've got
use
that
to
bit.
the majority of us.
Velodrome, you know, cycle thing.
Yeah,
Something we really, really need here.
Very popular, isn't it?
yeah. Yes, that's right. Okay, the other thing, the next thing we did was
Old for that.
we feel we want to commission an independent traffic report for the village. Because all these developments that have gone through in the past, they have to have a traffic assessment, but they never seem to take account of what has been already passed. So they look at what's here now, and they say, we're only going to put another 40 houses on here. This is only going to be 2.2 cars, I think they work out something. This is not going to make a problem. Forgetting there's nothing, you know, over 400 other houses already committed to the village. This is also part of the neighbourhood plan as well. So we have decided we've got getting some quotes in. We've got something already, and we wish to go ahead with the commission of an independent traffic report for the village. And that was agreed by virtual members of the thing. Next item we discussed is unauthorised trading activity, which is the field on the right-hand side on the Aylesbury Road. Leslie's been doing a lot on behalf of the Parish Council for that. It's gone through ABDC, it's gone to Bill Chappell, Carol Paternoster, the Environment Officers got involved from Bucks County Council. He's written to the owners of the land, and they've issued a cease and desist to Mr O'Callaghan to do his trading activities there, and if he doesn't, they're going to enforce it. That was 2 weeks ago, so we don't know what's happened since. Leslie, any further news on that?
Yeah, I had an email, I think Monday morning, to say that the report compiled by Carol, she did apologise for not being able to speak to us, is that it's nearly and it will be after we've got the name, it's going to where it's got to go. And it's being dealt
To make an enforcement, presumably.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's two different issues. One is the crushing business, whatever you call that.
Yeah, we know what you mean. Yeah,
So
yeah.
the other is the burning of housing. One's environment and one is
Planning.
thank you. Yes.
Yes, one of chain or usage of the land. Yeah.
And obviously the licences haven't been applied for, have never been used. So we've got lots of information.
Okay, well done.
Peter.
Just on another note on that, as I come past there this afternoon, the gateway was blocked. Whether this vehicle's still there or not, I don't know, but it was a massive, great big four-wheel
All right.
dump truck.
Yes, it is.
Is it still there? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's there tonight.
Is that yours,
Yeah.
Josie?
Well, I'd have a go on it round the field.
So what's that sort of about? Well, unless it's all moving in the right direction or something from the bad direction.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask, what are the options open to us that we would find acceptable?
Acceptable in what way, John?
If we're trying to get this sorted out, what is it we want from them? Total cease and desist?
Yes,
Yeah.
essentially, of what he's doing on that field.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't, but we don't believe he has planning permission for it.
It's use of the land. It's agricultural land, essentially. That's what it was for. He has had a small commercial operation. He used to sell Christmas trees there, and he has a very small nursery. So he has some usage of that land over and above agricultural use, but he's abusing that privilege, as far as we can see. Well, we know he is. And he's been doing a lot of burning as well, and he's taken down a lot of trees, some of which we think are black poplars, and they're protected species as well.
Yes, the photograph of substantiate that as well. Thank you.
After that, move on to the neighbourhood plan, which is continuing. The questionnaire, we met our consultants twice this month. The questionnaire is now formulated and will be distributed, I think, middle of March, did we say? I think we're going for, aren't we, on that middle of March?
Middle of March, but we need to get the website, website
I'm
up and
talking
running.
to Mervyn about that.
Mervyn is actually here, but don't talk, you're not meant to.
Yeah, oh no. And I've made contact with the other guy as well, who's going to help with the assessment of the survey as well, the SNAP guy, changing it into that.
Just on that, I've been to the two printers today for quotes, so for printing that and for
Because we've decided, after much discussion, we need to advertise this, and Village Life was usually would have been our chosen, but it's not timing very well, and it also goes out in a slightly scattergun approach. So we're going to pay for a flyer drop to all the houses and businesses within the village. So we hit them at the same time, and everyone knows exactly when it's going to happen.
Yeah. Any points or comments on that
That's about it.
from anybody? Any? Paul?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Can I ask a comment about the traffic survey? Will
Yeah.
that encompass projected traffic?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, we want them to get a sort of matrix or a platform of what they've got now, and then say, look, these are the approved, and we've got the approved, and we know exactly where they are, and there is a matrix that you use to how many cars that these places filled up, and this can be integrated or proposed for, which we don't think that's what they're doing. So yes, that is essentially what we want to do.
Thank you.
And read another bit on the service. How extensive is it in terms of side roads, things like that?
That is that's one of the big questions. We didn't really know, how you do it, where do you do it. So we've got 3 quotes coming in, and it seems like you need a preliminary meet with a guy who comes and looks at the place, and you tell him where everything is, and you tell him where the rat runs are, because he doesn't know that, and he says, right, in which case we need traffic lead. They put leads across the road here, we need one here, we need a manual assessment for 2 weeks here, etc., etc. So you do a sort of pre-consultation with him to decide exactly where you have to put anything. I think most of us know where the rat runs through the village occur, so we will point that out to him. But if anyone obviously wants to contact me and say, this road at 8:30 in the morning is dire, feel free. And that was what's happened.
Sorry, is there a standard time for these when it goes ahead for these to go across the road? Have they got to be there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Do we know?
Well, how long for the surveys?
Yeah,
I think
is there a specific time?
Reading the quotes, one or two quotes we've got at the moment, it looks like around about 1 or 2 weeks is what they say. But I think again that's open to us to decide cost and timing.
We must avoid school holidays.
Sorry, yeah, must avoid school holidays.
Yeah.
We need them on journeys.
Yes, absolutely, yes. Well, I know this is. I can say this, but the developers will always do their
7:30 in the
assessments at
morning.
7:30 on Sunday morning during school holidays when
Yeah.
nothing happens.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we find. We say, when you go to these meetings at AVDC, they never quote when and where the traffic survey is taken part. Bucks County Council just say, we have no objection, and that is all you ever hear.
We've all seen the photographs of Brook Street.
And we all see it, and we
There
want
was
to be able to
not a
say,
single car parked in Brook Street.
we want to be able to put our
Then
hands up and say, Bucks County Council, there's a traffic survey, please comment on that. But at the moment we cannot do that. There are only so many things in the planning committee where they can turn down applications, and one of them is transport. But if Bucks County Council Transport Department will not say no, they cannot hang their hat on it. Sometimes you can see them wanting to hang their hat on it, but they can't. So that's why we've commissioned
The
them.
data.
Yeah, you've got to prove it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Any other points? Alan?
Just on your neighbourhood plan survey, you talked about getting it out, what about getting it back?
Yes, we talked long and hard about that as well, alongside with the consultant. We are on the flyer, and when the notice goes out, we're hoping or pushing people to try and complete it online as much as possible, because we think that's easier for them, and it's easier for our guy to collate the information. But that's by the by, if you like. And the other thing is, we will have 4 collection points within the village where people can drop them off. And if some people, we do realise, I say the village, which is incorrect, in the parish, there are people at Dancer's End and up on the Holton Hill who will find coming down here, we will propose that we will go and pick them up if necessary. If they contact us, and that's the last ditch. If you cannot drop off and you cannot go online, please ring, we will pick up.
And that again, people who are mobility problems or whatever,
Yeah.
we will also.
Do that as well. So we hope so it's online, 4 collection points, or 4 delivery points if you like, and we will collect over and above that if you need it.
And you say the question has now been...
It's been done, yeah.
We've virtually
Yeah,
finished it.
virtually finished it,
The
yeah.
front page is the last, the questions
Yeah.
are agreed, it's just the front page, the
Revision
wording,
type thing,
where
yeah.
there's a few emails going around about what to actually say at the moment on the front
Is it
page.
anonymous or is it an
It can,
option?
up to you.
It can either or.
You have to leave your
Postcode, isn't it?
postcode.
Okay,
Without the postcode, they will not, it's not valid.
great, thank you.
Is there any other points or questions for Colin? Okay, moving to the next item, which is the Facilities Committee. Looks like the next 3 might be me to talk to.
Well, it was just, should I
Yeah.
talk about the community service team
Yes. Yes.
thing? So that starts next Wednesday, every afternoon, for the foreseeable several months. So my concern is having enough for them to do and being equipped before they come. So I'd like you all to assume that I have no initiative whatsoever, but just tell me, have you thought of this, have you thought of that? You've all had the list
Anyone
round.
responded to you?
Yeah.
I know I haven't. I keep meaning
About
to.
the,
Does anyone not have
This
this
list, the list of the Gio's proposed
of
projects
what we're thinking of getting them to do?
came out yesterday, email yesterday evening, I think, early, late afternoon, something like that.
Yeah, yesterday. So I think we're all right for the immediate
Yes.
couple of weeks because we'll get them to clean up the pavilion, both the outside, window cleaning, window frames, cobwebbing, all of that, which was never done when the cafe took it on. And then some painting inside the football changing rooms. We've got the paint, it was donated, so that's quite easy. I just need to go and get rollers and all that sort of thing, unless anybody's going to B&Q this weekend.
Stunned silence.
Okay, I guess I'm doing that. And then we're hoping that they'll be able to do some painting in the play park, just touching up really, not a full scale job. But particularly that youth shelter. It just looks so shabby now, but everything's so nice down there.
Sure, can I just ask a general question? Are all of these supervised
Yes.
activities?
They come with their own supervisor.
And do
The
they
only
come in a team
proviso-
of however many or a specific number in each
They
team?
don't know till the day who they're getting and how many. So therefore we won't know either. But today they delivered 8 pairs of safety goggles, which I've got in the toilet. So
Right.
probably at least 8, I'm assuming, are coming.
But if I
It's
was
going to
enjoying
be
it.
a little bit, see how we go, I think, initially, with it. What was I talking about before?
You were going through the list.
Go through the list.
Painting the
Painting the toilets.
Changing room.
Changing rooms.
I believe they have a limit of something like 2 feet off the ground.
Yeah, they've
What?
sent...
What, standing up 2 feet?
Yes.
Oh, right. I
Yeah.
thought they were going to paint up to 2 feet high.
Colin, be sensible.
They've delivered their step ladders today, and they're in there, and they're like little gnome step ladders.
And that's the limit.
I can do one of those.
Yes, they're
My
very
God.
Because
good.
If they're very tall, it'll be all right.
Yeah. When this isn't a good time of the year to be starting. When we did the initial review with them back in last June, I think it was, there's things like clearing ACL 8, the back of...
We went ahead and got it done.
Yes, but it's doing it again.
Oh, does
It
it?
just hasn't got mattresses in
That's
there,
the
it's
kind
got
of thing I
rubbish.
need
Yeah.
to know.
There's things like painting the bus shelters. Now they can do the bus shelter down this end because the ground at the back of the bus shelter is 4 foot higher than the ground at the front of the bus shelter, so it makes their 2 feet off the ground requirement. But they can't do the one up by Stalebridge Road other than the side walls. If we wanted the roof of that doing, we'd have to do it. But
So painting the bus
yes,
shelters.
yeah, which haven't been done for
Excellent.
over a day.
Could we not surprise?
Yes, you paint with cuprinol
Yeah, that's
preservatives.
okay, yeah. But I need to be told this sort of thing because I have no experience.
Well, I think what Jill's been saying is if we've got,
I need some
if we think
guidance.
of anything that we think we've seen doing, because we've seen
Yeah.
something he's doing
Things
to
like
run
that
the
inline
village,
rail fence.
then we should
They
be
can
telling.
preserve all that. and they're apparently very adept at that sort of job. And it may be, if we want to carry out improvements in the woodland, just putting some footpaths and things in there, making it a little bit more user-friendly. They're very adept at that type of project as well.
Why?
I don't know, it's just what they do.
Who's
Okay,
providing
John,
the...
John had a point.
I just have a point. That is, this height problem, are there not extending poles that you can put onto these rollers?
Yeah, they've delivered 2 extending poles.
So I think,
Yeah.
does that not mean that they don't, it's not the height that they can do it, it's the height that they are allowed to stand up?
Is that they're allowed?
Yes, it's a height,
So then that
health and
is-
safety rules, isn't it? Health and
They
safety.
can
I'm not
overcome
overly
that.
worried about that. I'm more concerned with the fact that they're going to turn up and be confronted with myself and Elaine, who will not be ready with
When are they
all
coming?
the stuff
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
A week Wednesday,
Mm.
so next
No,
time.
this Wednesday.
Weekday.
Wednesday.
Sorry, 10th.
Do you know what materials you need and who's providing the materials?
We have to provide the materials.
We get the labour for free, but we pay.
So my first question is still relevant, do we know what we need?
Well, I think once we've identified the
why
projects, that's why I think,
this.
I think the solution really is, to be honest, if everybody reads the email which Jill sent, and I must admit, I've read it but not replied, and comes up and adds to the list that Jill sent round with anything else that needs to be doing, because you've got to make some decisions for next Wednesday, and then we've got every other Wednesday, every Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So is it a week on Wednesday? When's
a
half
week.
term?
A week
Time.
It's not half term.
No, it's the following week.
Susie?
What about things like cleaning the war memorial and then the other memorial? We haven't had a specialist.
The War Memorial's okay. It's pristine, thanks to John Disbury. The Malik Aubrey thing could probably do with a good clean, but that is quite specialist.
Didn't we talk something about that?
We talked about it after a remembrance parade.
Okay,
Federal
that was all
Right.
It needed doing.
we just talked,
Okay.
as usual.
Right, do you have a point?
I was just saying that if they're going to start next week before the half term, they can do maybe playgroundy stuff
Mm.
for all the kids get in there.
And
So
clean outside the
clean,
pavilion.
ready for the...
Yeah, clean outside the pavilion, because people will be using that. So I think what Jill was asking for is if we can all, as councillors, please come back to her with comments, suggestions, ideas of what we can do.
Can we actually put it out there to the community? Can we ask for some ideas?
What did you say after cleaning the Malik Aubrey? Somebody said something.
I said,
No,
we
that
talked
was it.
about it.
Oh, I know
But
what it
we
was.
have-
The bench next to the Malik Aubrey. It's really shabby, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a wooden bench, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can get that
Well, there's two
painted.
on it, well, there was two.
We'll get that painted.
When you
Leslie?
think we stay,
Yes, notice boards need staying. I think we
We
could
could be
sit
here-
here
we
all
could be here
night
for a
going,
long
Jill,
time.
Yeah,
I think we should go back to what I said a minute ago, what Jill actually asked to happen yesterday, was can we look at Jill's email, look at the list of things that Jill's already put on her email.
I just feel I need
Add-
some guidance,
add some
particularly,
more.
I mean, I've painted a bedroom before, but, you know, I don't know how many rollers and what, I don't know the difference between cuprinol and paint and,
How long, over what period, what total duration do we have these guys supporting us?
months rather than weeks, I'm
Okay,
told.
I really think we should be going out to the community. It's great we can collect collective feedback here, but they are doing community service. It would be great to have them represented.
We could put something on the website, couldn't
Yeah,
we?
just put something out there. I
We
think
can
we
do that.
get some feedback in.
If we
Alan?
just get them going initially.
So I'll get you report.
Yeah, can I say that my understanding is they have to work in controlled quantities. They have to be under supervision.
Yeah.
You can't just have odd people wandering
No,
around
no,
the
absolutely
village
not. No.
doing bits and pieces, and that will need to. But what they liked about here was that within the park, they could control and supervise large groups of people doing fairly mundane tasks, whether it's trimming trees, painting fences, or whatever. They were a little bit more concerned about when people went off into the general community, and you have to then take into account roads they have to cross, because these poor little cherubs can't be expected to get across main roads all on their own and have to carry bags of rubbish and what have you. I would have thought that they would have come back to us for a meeting to discuss all this.
They did. I've met with the
Oh,
lady.
sorry. Right.
It's the actual nitty-gritty of being ready with the stuff on the day as they arrive.
Paul, did you have a point? Sorry.
Yeah, their supervisor, their lady who organises it, what she said is that there's one supervisor, he needs to be able to see the team. So they're going to base themselves in here, so whether they're in here or over there, he'll be able to monitor them at all times. That's how we're setting off initially. If they're going to do, say, bus shelters, then they will move as a team, and he will move with them to those sites and do
So
the
you
work.
can't go off doing small projects and that one man their own.
That's the whole point.
That's right. It's not the most labour efficient, but that's how it has to be.
Well, it's free labour though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it
Could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the conclusion is, can we please email Jill, read Jill's paper, email Jill, and I haven't got an objection to putting it on the website, but if people do have great ideas, then there's no reason why we can't. You're right, it's a community thing, but there obviously has to be within the guidelines that Jill just mentioned, is that the team has to be
But
a
we
team.
can determine that, can't we?
Yeah.
If we've got months' worth of this to go through, then...
I think we're all right for the first couple of weeks.
Yeah, looks like
But then we may run dry and need. But then there's footpaths can be trimmed
Yeah,
and
seasonal
so
things
on
as well,
in summer. So, and they have their own trimmers. Yeah,
Surprised
you
they're
have
allowed
to
to
book
use
them in
trimmers.
advance. I know.
They won't give them the sheds apparently.
I'm sure it's they've got their own trimmers, their own trimmers.
What age groups is this typically
It's
given?
mixed. They can't tell us in advance.
We don't know what
The
we're going to get.
composition of what we're getting.
There's a 12-year-old.
We'll find out when they arrive.
Anyway, I think we should move on. So I think, can we just all email Jill with our thoughts? So the next item on the agenda is Sports and Recreation Subcommittee and CTV and data handling policy. I think there is just that we have now a draft data protection policy which complies with current law, and we ought to have it and approve it as for the council to have as its policy. It's just a motion to approve that policy.
I propose it.
Second. Vote of hands, show of hands on the approval. The next two items are two working parties. The first one is Astonbury. And Astonbury, for those who don't know what it is a thought, it's only a thought at this stage, that we hold some kind of festival, that's the wrong word maybe, in the park in the summer of 2017. Instead of a working party of few councillors, which the working party this time was rather small in numbers. It was basically me and Paul and Jill. Yeah, don't count on the councillors first, and you. And we have got some ideas, and we've all gone away with various actions. I don't think we need to go into detail what those actions are because they come to nothing. I don't think we want to talk about some of them for now, just ideas. But I think the general view of the working party is that this would be a good thing to do for the village. And we would like to do it, but we need to come back with some better ideas of how to do it, what to do, who to contact. With an idea of when it will be summer, July 2017, so that we agreed a weekend. And we are going to, the hope is that we'll put a paper together for the March Parish Council meeting to sort of discuss and outline the feasibility of it and whether we can actually have agreement from the Parish Council to continue with our work on this one. I think that's what we agreed, wasn't it, Paul? So it's really just an update on that. I personally would love it to go ahead, but we obviously need all the Parish Councils to agree. And we need to make sure it pays its own way because we haven't got any money to fund it. So, any points or comments on Astonbury? Don't laugh, Colin. Stop it. It's serious.
It's hours to think of that name.
Pain McCloud.
Yeah, always.
No more comment. I think that one. The other point, the other working party that we have at the moment is the youth club. And the working party for that is me, Alan and Jill. And we have met with the youth club organisers on 2 occasions. I'm sure some of you have seen the comments on Facebook and have seen my reply and Jill's reply. And Again, for the record, I'll say it now, we are not trying to close the youth club down. The youth club hasn't done very much over the last couple of years, and we're working with the current committee of the youth club to see what we can do going forward with them. And it's really at a stage of just talking to them. They've given us a very outlined proposal of what they possibly might do in the future. We've asked them to put some more flesh on that and come back to meet the working party again on the 23rd of February, with an idea that we will take whatever proposals they may have and bring it back to Parish Council at the next Parish Council meeting, the first Wednesday in March. But we are supportive of the youth club and whatever we can do to help them. And we have already expressed gratitude to Brian Churchill, who's obviously done an awful lot for the youth club over a great number of years, and we're hugely appreciative of that. But you know, it is difficult, more difficult times for youth clubs. There's another youth club in the village, and they've struggled to maintain a youth club for the last year and a half, really. So we got involved really because the building that the youth club operates out of is our building, and they are our tenants. And we just wanted to, we'd had some issues over the tenants, or some of the tenants, or sub-tenants. We just wanted to start talking to them, and that's where it arose. But so it's still working party, talking to them, and we'll hopefully come to the next Parish Council meeting with a proposal for it going forward. Anything else?
I think it's just I'm sure people are aware of the sort of disinformation that was out on Facebook recently. A couple of facts. In the last 2 years, they've spent £64 on activities, which gives you some level, or some idea of the level of activity that's going on. And I don't believe they've had a youth meeting of youths as such since July last year. So I mean, it is effectively defunct already, and what we're trying to do is come up with a strategy that will put life back into it, to bring it back as an asset into the village, as with all that we try to do. It just requires change. We're not yet decided what that change will be, but they have some very interesting ideas, which is far more community based than youth based, and I find it quite exciting some of their proposals.
Paul.
Thank you, Sharon. Yeah, just a couple of comments. It could be in Aston Clinton there's an over-provision of youth clubs. I think I know of 2 successful ones at churches, the Methodist Church, and I think it's St Mary's.
Baptist Church.
The Baptist Church has a lot of church.
Yeah.
Very active youth group.
So do you need 3 or 4 youth clubs in the village? I don't know. So that might be a problem. So if there was no provision, I think the Parish Council rightly should step in and provide a youth club, and that's part of our remit. But if we have over provision, maybe we don't need to. So that's one point. Another point is the building's in a real state, I think, personally. I've been in it a few times, and I think it's a bit of a mess. It's not very well decorated, it needs a big makeover. So the building's not necessarily fit for purpose. I think if you run a youth club, you need to advertise for a youngish, dynamic sort of youth worker who's done it as a degree, or there are these people out there. I've done it myself in the past, and they transform a club. They know how to use social media, marketing, get youths involved. And that involves investment. Again, when I went in there, I think I saw a ping pong table and bits and bobs. It's not the most attractive things for youngsters these days. They want Xboxes and Nintendos, all that kind of stuff. So, good stereo, music system, whatever. So it will require investment, I think, as well, if we decide to go ahead. If we're not going to provide a youth club, we decide there's already an over-provision, then that's building as an asset which we could rent out and bring income into the council. So that's something else to think
I agree.
about.
I mean, one of the things that I agree that the building probably does need some investment, particularly inside, but the youth club actually does have surplus funds at the moment. They have a reasonably healthy bank statement, bank balance, and they do sublet it to 3 different groups. There's one going in this evening, and so they do have some income, and that income is paid for the insurances, although insurances and things are up to date. So there would be, once we discuss it more, maybe the surplus in the balance sheet could be used to paint the building, tidy up, I don't know. But there is money, they have actually got some decent funds of their own. They're all sitting in the bank account, and they're still earning money by subletting it.
Can I ask, there hasn't been a youth club a youth meeting since last July. Why if the parish council own the building, have they got a tenancy then? Or do they pay us rent to have a youth club, or is it?
No, we've always provided it free
The
as
building,
as an amenity
Yes.
for a youth club to run. That happened donkeys years ago, I understand. It was,
Okay.
there's never been a financial arrangement. We also help them out by maintaining the exterior of the building. They're supposed to maintain sort of the electronics inside and so on. And that's always been the agreement.
And how about the water rates, the electricity?
They pay their own bills.
Do they?
So they have paid their own bills.
Okay. I just.
Yeah, they pay their insurances. Yeah.
To answer your question, though, there is no agreement historically.
Well, perhaps.
Well,
There's
that will
nothing in
be
writing.
that will be sorted out. I mean,
It has to be.
the thing, absolutely. I mean, we think it's a license. A license will be basically terminated on very short notice, but not that we are.
No,
Hasten to add before anyone thinks I'm saying that. I'm not. But once we've got their proposal of what they would like to do going forward, provided we're happy with it, provided the parish council are happy with it, then we will look at making sure there's a proper tight tenancy agreement in place with whoever occupies that building, so we can maintain it properly, including subtenants.
So everybody understands that. Why did they run out of units?
We've gone elsewhere.
Yeah.
It's gone elsewhere.
We've gone elsewhere.
There's
a better option.
And I think also,
The model wasn't working.
yeah, I think that it worked. They hadn't. I don't think the model had changed over a long period of time. I don't want to say anything because I think the fantastic job's been done over the years, and that's clear. But I think the model hasn't changed, and I think people who are running it probably are obviously not as young as they used to be, and it's just
The competition's free.
yeah, and the competition is free, whereas they charge.
Oh, okay.
The church youth clubs are free.
Is there, Mr. Chairman, is there a point of contact with these other groups in liaising with them so that they use these facilities and you try and combine with them? I mean,
They've got their own. Yeah, they've got the practice hall.
They've all got their own buildings.
But you've got the outside buildings, you've got the outside facilities here, that young people need exercise, need activity. It isn't just doing it inside.
But these are church-run things. I don't know if we want to. I don't know if it'd be
But
appropriate.
they all have the access to the park because they're
They do
public space.
recommend, they rent the all-weather pitch, the Baptist youth group rent that.
But I think the main thing, remember, we're talking to the youth, and the youth club are the tenants of the building at the moment. They have a committee, and we are talking to that committee. We're talking to the chairman and secretary at the moment, and I think let's wait and see if we have our next meeting. They should produce a more detailed paper for us every ask. The paper is pretty good, but it just needs a lot more flesh on the bones before we can discuss it and take it forward. Are there any other points and comments? I'm conscious of time, so are there any other points or comments on that point? And the next point is 106 funds. We have potential allocation of some 24,000 from the new road development, and we need to agree projects to allocate those monies to. Have anyone any thoughts for those particular projects? Peter, go on.
Yes, I'd like to sort of put an application in, but firstly, may I say, I didn't actually realise that this had gone through. Because I know it's under appeal, isn't it?
Yeah, but sometimes they ask you to allocate the money ahead of
Fair
that.
enough.
If that happens.
Yeah.
Obviously, with what Jill said earlier on with the how we've done with the Tesco's thing, where we've been shortlisted, with some of that money, or nearly all of it, that would certainly help us to proceed with this thing for the play area, for the equipment. Obviously, we don't know how we're going to proceed yet. We've got to wait to hear from them, and they're going to advise us, and then we've got to work out ourselves how we're going to promote it to our best, so we can perhaps obtain top prize, shall we say. So I would like to sort of obviously put in for, say all of that, for that project.
Because whatever we get from Tesco's, it still won't cover the
No,
amount that you're
no.
going to need for that
No, it
project.
won't cover
But added
that.
together with this amount,
It will do.
it will
Or
cover
it would do, yeah.
we feel.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
exactly, yeah.
that's basically for putting in disabled play equipment?
Yes, yeah. Oh, it
Like
can
disabled.
be, it's for disabled children, but it can be used for able-bodied children. And as I say, it will be situated in there,
Mm.
and it's not going to be sort of separated off, so it's going to be them and us sort of thing. You know.
Okay.
On that note, on the S106, is it, very well goes this project a lot, but is it intended for brand new projects, and will we be able to consider that as a new project? You know?
Mhm.
That will be.
Yes,
Yes,
I
it's
think,
a new
I think it'd be
project,
fine.
Will
It's-
come under.
And on the same, just carrying on, so can I just ask, have you had the other quote back? The latest one?
Yeah. Yeah, Jill's got both of those now, yeah.
I think Toby was next.
Sorry.
Just interested to know what sort of price we were looking at for those, for the new facilities, broadly.
Do we go
One was
with
about 25 grand,
Yeah.
and one was about 29.
29, that's with VAT, yeah,
And there's a third one we still have to get.
yeah.
So,
But the third one we can obtain from a brochure anyway, so they are apart, but not a million miles apart, you know, so.
so the Tesco money won't cover it, but obviously it'll help. But added together with this,
That will cover
I
it.
think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely will would
Sums
cover it, yes, yeah.
Work.
But if we actually obtain first spot, so to speak, then, you know, we'll be well away.
I'd just say, yeah, this is an appeal, this one as well, it's under appeal, so I wouldn't rely on it too much.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, I agree. So is everybody else in agreement that if we were to get this money, that is what we allocate it to?
Yeah, on that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so propose second. Show of hands. Everybody. Okay, the next agenda item is the grounds maintenance subcommittee. Who's talking on this? It can't be me again. Well, I know it's not me again.
Do you want to talk about wheelie bins?
Sorry, just catching up. I will talk about wheelie bins. Right, AVDC got in touch and they have decreed that the wheelie bin area is, it doesn't meet health and safety requirements. Regulations for their operatives. Because it's gravelly, it's hard to pull out, and they are hard to pull out on that gravelly surface, and they have to pull them out in order to link them up to the wagon to be tipped in. So they've asked that we have it paved, so it's no longer shall we, shan't we, but we're going to have to. I was talking to Hayden Hill because I just thought while they're here they can slap something
A few
down.
blocks left here.
They've quoted, I only got the quote an hour before this meeting, they've really dragged their heels on it, and I think it's quite high really. I was expecting a real cheap job of 2,400
Oh,
to do that.
really?
I mean, I don't know if anyone knows more about, to me,
Taking
you
the Michael.
just slap down some tarmac or something.
Just go get some bits.
Needs to be.
And those are people that was to do cook.
Yeah.
And there's a piece of Western Turf.
The best bet really, I would say to that is if you make one that's sort of cheap, fair, it is a big slab, yeah, like the sort of the 2 foot by 1 foot paving slab,
Yeah.
you see, but that's
They'd have to be
really
flush though, wouldn't they? 'Cause
within reason,
any,
yeah. But,
any
yeah.
lip and they won't be
Yeah.
able to pull the thing.
yeah, you know, for God's sake, can't we get a grip of it? Oh my God. But yeah, anything else you require paviours, anything else you require digging down at least sort of 8 inches, you know, it's 200 mil or something like that, 250 mil. And then you've got to put some hardcore down, you've got to roll it, and you've got to sand it.
So you think this is a decent
No.
price?
No.
No, I think it's expensive. I think it's expensive.
It's still expensive.
And
And
nothing.
how much is he getting out of us for this job? A lot of money, isn't he?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
but
yeah.
it was cheaper than any of the
Yeah.
others, so I think it's a decent price.
It's a decent
but
price,
this,
but
I thought,
he
even
can-
to
he's
my
got-
untrained eye, seems
As Toby said, he's going to have some blocks left over, some pavers left over, he's got a pile of sand left over, he's got a digger on site. He could do better than that.
Yeah, do we have to do it? I mean, it'd be easy to have him do it because he's on site and the stuff is left over. Can't someone go and...
Is it Mr. Warren you've been
Warren,
talking
isn't
to
it?
again?
Yeah.
Do you want me to have another chat to him again?
Not make it sound as though you're going to go press the ball.
I'm going to say,
Well, I got the cable price down, didn't I?
I'm going to say
So-
no to your kind offer,
Okay.
Colin.
All right.
Thank you. Only because we've had a few kind
Thanks.
of, we've had a few issues, you know,
Okay.
we're okay, but I think it's better I deal with it.
All right.
Maybe that's why the price is so high.
Maybe.
There you go.
I did wonder that, actually.
Maybe he doesn't want it.
Well, I was going to say,
Sounds
like
like
prices,
it.
I think they've probably
Priced out
taken
more.
a hit on that.
Got it out.
Come back to that.
Yeah,
But
they're not
quite
cheap though either,
Well, what about,
We
traditionally.
need to get a quote though, don't we?
can we just done the fencing? Jim, what's his vet? You know.
Yeah, I don't,
I
do you
think
want
we
to
need,
leave it with me, this one?
yes,
Mhm.
I think that's the best way for leave with you for now and get some quotes. It does seem rather a lot of money,
Yeah.
and maybe this doesn't want the job.
Yeah,
There's
I think
got
it would go on,
something else to them.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be mixed in with that.
Can I just be clear that they're not going to stop emptying the bins because we haven't done it?
Not yet.
Well,
They
well,
would be
it's not a
expecting it to be
solution.
Oh, I
done.
know,
Isn't it?
but
I think they'll have my assurance that we're on it.
Excuse me,
Leslie?
simple solution, if that is about to happen, we put them where they used to be, which is on the back wall outside the, you know where the door is to go into the cafe in the park? The bins were always there, weren't they? And that's when used to come because it's nice ramp down and put them into the truck there. They only got moved over there because,
I can't think where you mean.
by the entrance.
It's by the entrance of the cafe in the
where's
park.
there's that box thing says
The
staff
prettiest thing to
only?
put by your car, your
Where
cafe
our
entrance.
toilet stuff was.
Can we get the paper?
Well, let's, yeah, maybe, let's see what happens first. See how we
Because
get
this
this
was
right.
a solution.
Yeah.
That would,
Yeah.
so
So, Paul, did you have a comment?
Yeah.
No. No. But you know. Okay, so can we leave then that particular point for Jill to deal with for now, rather than debate it endlessly at the moment? Okay, thank you. The next point is the programme 2015-2016, 17. Is the costs for the...
Yes, I thought 2 and 4 were the same.
Yes, because I've already outlined the programme in my report, so
Okay.
we don't need to do that.
Basically, you should have had a paper today from Jill which outlines the costs.
Mhm.
When I put that together for the budget proposal, I hadn't discussed with Buckland what we required, they were just my estimates. When I discussed with them what we required, they came back basically within what we put in as the budget. And we're getting something like a third more work for probably 10% more cost. So the areas that they're doing are far bigger, the frequency with which they're doing them are greater, but because they now know the lie of the land and what the workload is, they're able to bring their experience to bear on it. And I think given the flexibility that they've always shown towards us, there's a very strong case for accepting their prices for the coming year.
And then we agreed, didn't we, to say that they continued basically.
That's right, yes.
And then we.
You just wanted some, come back on the pricing,
Yeah,
and the pricing is coming in almost to the penny, exactly where I thought it would be, with sufficient contingency for doing the jobs that we still need doing,
over and above the standard.
over and above.
And then we said we'd come up for 17, we'd put it out to tender again.
We did.
So by then we would know exactly, got a better idea of
Yeah.
what we need as well, we after
We
2
did
years
say
of doing it.
Leslie?
can I ask the churchyard section?
There's a separate section, we can't proceed on that until somebody comes back and tells
Thank you,
us
that's
it's
what
our
I'm just
churchyard.
checking.
Well, they haven't replied. I sent the letter, I should have
Okay.
a copy. The letter was sent to the diocese, the Diocese of Oxford.
Yes.
I wrote on the 4th of January.
Yeah.
Do we need to have a meeting with the vicar?
She doesn't know.
No, and actually say we won't be carrying out any maintenance until such time as it's cleared.
We know, yes, that's a good idea.
Because it's at their behest that they're claiming ownership of that. And it's not responsible of us to be maintaining land that is not our responsibility.
I don't think people are aware of that.
Sorry, without wishing to backtrack. Point 1, the armoured cabling application.
Point.
Point 1.
That was,
Sorry, what was that?
Yes, at the time when I put together the agenda, there were all those emails still flying about one versus the other. So it was just to clarify that what we've got down is armoured cabling and not ducting.
It has gone in.
We
Yeah.
decided all via email that we don't need
Yeah.
any further
Yeah.
CCTV, what we've got is sufficient. So what we can have is a light down there in due course when there's some money to do that.
Yeah, to matter of interest, I did make some further inquiries about that. I don't know if I put it on there, but to sort of wire it up both ends and have it ready to go is about 450 quid.
Yeah.
So to go back to the matter we're talking about the Buckland,
Yeah,
and basically what's being asked here is us to approve the costs for the coming year.
yes.
And as Colin quite rightly said, we'll go out to tender at the end of towards the end of this year for,
Yeah.
for the next, for
Yes.
part 2017 onwards. So we've got the detailed costs here. Has anyone got any further questions or comments of Alan in relation to that? Okay, so in that case, are we able to move to a motion to approve those costs?
I will propose it.
Right, okay, and can we show of hands in favour or? Just pause a minute to let Jill catch
Yeah,
up.
thanks.
Dog matters. Oh, yeah,
That's great, thank you.
The last item on this particular subheading is dog matters, something which this parish council spent an awful lot of time discussing. There's two particular items. One is feedback on changes to bylaws, and I'm pretty sure I was tasked with that, and I know I'm going to do that. It's been a bit of a busy month.
Okay,
Um,
that's all right. Yeah, we were trying to find out whether we could change it to, what, maximum number of dogs in the park or something, wasn't it like that?
number of people. Yeah.
Number of
Yeah.
people.
I will-
Dogs per
You're
person.
on it.
I'm on it. I'm on
Okay,
it.
that's
It's
all right.
been a
No,
very
that's
working
fine.
parties. It's been a bit of a
I've got something
busy
to
month.
report, actually. Wing Parish Council got in touch and offered us all their dog bins. They've decided that
The dogs.
they've decided their dog bins are costing them £2,000 a year. They want to make savings. They've removed the lot. They've decided that people can use the ordinary bins, which is a kind of central government thing. I think everyone's been told that, aren't they?
Yep.
And that's what they're going to do. They've removed all their dog bins. Did we want them for free? I said yes. There's 7 of them. I just haven't figured out how to get them over here because they're not going from our car.
No.
I thought we might as well have them. If we end up sending them to the scrapyard ourselves, well, we'll do that. But we had discussed having 2 more next year and maybe 2 more the following year.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, that saves on the cost of the bins.
Store them in the shed down the bottom.
But I thought it was interesting, their policy.
Mm.
And if anybody's got any great ideas how to get them over
I
here,
can do that with a trainer.
have you got a trailer? Fantastic. Problem solved.
With gloves.
Okay.
And a nose pad.
Yeah.
We've been trying to contact to do it.
So the next, to continue the other comment, the other item on this is dog bins and the feedback from the questionnaire.
Oh yes, that's me, so here we go. I have written it down. Right, we haven't had that many back, but the ones that we have are all intimating that they prefer from bottom of Staplebridge Road, where the big tree is,
Yeah.
oak tree,
Yeah. All
between
chestnuts.
there and down to more or less 108, which is the coffee shop, on that section.
Okay.
And also mutuals out at sort of that area, Rutland Drive, on that grass there. So, but that's everybody who's replied has more or less said the same thing. So,
Okay, so are we waiting for further feedback before we make a decision?
Yeah, but we've said that when the new financial year starts, so there's another month or so. This is an interim kind of.
I would like to say the feedback has been very poor. Not many people have bothered.
No. How many did we get? Was it about 30 or some 25? we've had
Yeah,
so
really
far.
bad. Yeah, but I mean, I suppose that's better than nothing.
Did they close?
We've actually just got it on the website.
On the website, yeah.
The questionnaires on the
Yes,
website.
So not on the Parish Council website. Is there any other points on that particular area?
Will we perhaps stick on the Facebook?
Saying, can you put a link to ours on that? So we can't talk about it.
Every time I write something down, it goes.
You're not this meeting, okay. Okay, so we move to the next agenda item, which is the Community Centre Subcommittee. Tony?
I sat here at the beginning of December and made a promise on behalf of somebody who will remain nameless in Aylesbury, who's a solicitor, to complete the lease.
His name is no votes, isn't
And
it?
if you want to know the slowest solicitor in Aylesbury, I will name him. But as of this morning, the revised hopefully the final lease is with the operators of the cafe and the park. And it's been acknowledged that they have it, and I have rather hopefully asked for a deadline of next Wednesday to finalise it, sign the document. So the end is in sight.
Only a year.
Yeah, we'll probably be having a rent review by the time they but anyway, that little niggle aside, the trading seems to continue. I don't hear anything bad about it from anybody. That's not an invitation to throw criticism at them. I think they do a great job. I think it's been well used. I think they've had to put up with a bit of disruption with what we've been doing. But
have they complained about that?
They can't have you.
no, they just
It
do.
will
They
recall
do.
people to their lives.
They do what they said they were going to do, and I think they're a great tenant. Yeah, well, it links that the path links to their terrace, so, which is great. So they've done everything they said they were going to do. The bigger picture, we've now got formal confirmation from ADDC that we will receive the £500,000 for the new homes bonus. It was suggested, but we've now seen it in writing. And some of you may have seen that's Herald.
Oh, yes.
Looked like a photo from Reservoir Dogs, but
it was a shocking photograph they chose. It was a shocking photograph they chose for the front page, wasn't it? Luckily, no one recognised it as me. It was so bad.
There's been some advertising, well, not advertising, but perhaps Harold covered it. As I think I reported last time, it's a massive step in the right direction. We have a loose number, and I say loose because it was done in a bit of a rush to get the submission in last September, but we think that if we deliver the plan and the pavilion that we all want, and to be all things to everybody, it'd be about £2.25 million. And that will only go one way, although we could strip cost out and we may have to look at value engineering it as the project goes forward. The good news is that I think we have visibility of about 53% of that cost. So the challenge that rests with us, and we're having a working party, is to where do we find the other million or so. Never was very good at maths. And the idea is that now we've got to this stage, we don't want to slow down. And we want, in an ideal world, we want to be able to deliver this during 2017. So I'll be in a position to report at the next meeting where we think we're going to go for the funding. There's a funding fair coming up, which will give us other ideas.
Yeah, Alan and I are going to that.
And we just, I'll report back, but we're going in the right direction. It's coming.
So that was for the 40 odd houses, wasn't it? That 500, was it?
No,
the new homes bonus.
The new homes bonus isn't relative to any project. Yeah, it's just a lump sum.
Right, because that's going now.
The new homes bonus.
Yeah,
yes.
Disappearing. You've got that.
We've got ours. That's all right.
We've got ours now, but it's disappearing. Will we be able? Can we allocate further 106 to that project or
Yes,
not?
we've only allocated 2, haven't we, so far?
No, we've allocated 3.
3, yeah.
And how many are allowed to go?
5.
5. So we've got the 95 houses behind Green, the Chapel Drive, whatever you want to call it, and the 91 opposite Pier. So that's going to be a good shed load, those two, isn't it?
Yeah, I think
hopefully. And they're approved in the sense it's only a matter of time before the 106 is.
No, I think we've already accounted for those.
I think
Is that in the funding already?
Sorry, it's the figures that I said are visible to us. Already taken account of that. So there is it's a big number to go at, but we've got some ideas.
But there are other sources of funding.
I wasn't sure whether
we've got a
that was
working
included or
party
not.
after this meeting to discuss it.
Well done.
So the sooner we finish this.
We've got 5 minutes for lots of barrier.
We've got a key. I told him it'd be a late one tonight.
Any other questions?
Any points to offer, Toby?
No. Okay, thank you.
The last item on this point is the maintenance jobs to the to the pavilion, and Elaine sent out 3 quotes this afternoon to us all, for us all to look at and for us to make a decision.
Does bid number 1 include VAT?
I read it as not including VAT.
I read it as not including
They
VAT.
very rarely include VAT. It's only Hayden Hill I've ever seen that include the VAT.
No, I was concerned because they didn't actually mention it.
No, we've seen what we've seen. I would assume not.
So we've got three bids, and obviously we should only talk about them as bid number 1 and 2. And we need to make a decision as to which one we think we should go with going
We're
forward.
assuming they're all based on exactly the same requirement.
Which they're not.
Exclude them.
If you read them, they are completely
Well, that's what I was just getting at. I mean,
apples and pears and balls
Well,
and...
this is it. This whole thing about like-for-like quotes, in reality, doesn't happen. When you take a contract around, they have their own way of dealing with a problem, and they quote for that way.
in my own simple view, is that number 2 is so far ahead of the other 2. It shouldn't even be.
I agree with that.
Even if there's a little bit of variation, we're not going to make that up.
No.
That leaves numbers 1 and 3.
And they're not dissimilar in price, are they?
They're not similar in price, and I would go for number 3 primarily because we know what we're getting with that particular supplier. There's an existing relationship, and unless somebody says, I think there's been very satisfactory service over the years. That's my own view.
Has anyone else got any thoughts on that?
That was my view.
Paul, go first. Paul.
Thank you, Chairman. I was just going to say, I don't know any of the builders who've quoted, so you have to get, references or decide on their previous work for us, or so
Yep.
as Toby said. So
I think two of these are well known in the village. I think that's what you're saying. Well known for delivering good quality work. I think we can say that.
okay.
I think,
Mike.
without any testimonials, but bid 1 has already undertaken work on parts of the premises. I think to a good standard as well.
Yeah. I'm not aware that 3 is done.
I thought-
You may know other
No,
ones.
I thought they had.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yes.
Okay.
So, any other points, Colin?
Yeah, on quote 3 here, he's mentioned the Conan Group boards, high level above the window. That's all the way round, is it? On the park side?
Is that cladding?
Yeah, the cladding side. He's number 3 has said he doesn't think they'll go back very well and split, and his option is to replace them with exterior ply boarding, which I think would be horrendous. So I would not go down that route whatsoever.
That's an all, Colin, isn't it?
It's an or, yes, but if you look at quote 1, he's gone for refix loose cladding sand and stained black, which I presume is the same thing. Difficult to tell, but his quote for that is substantially higher than the refixing of the loose T and G. So my own thing is I don't like that idea, and he doesn't seem like he wants to refix. He looks like he's going for option 2, which is ugly, as you know. So I would sway me towards option 1 on that.
Anyone else got any points or comments? So can we thank you. So should we go to a vote on which one we prefer, 1 or 3?
Okay.
And who is in favour of bid number 1? Who's in favour of bid number 3? Okay. On that basis, then I think we have a motion to approve that we appoint bid number 1. So who proposes that motion that we go for bid number 1? Peter, who's seconding it? Colin, show of hands. We go for.
Sorry?
And so,
Oh, you
and
supported
who's
it,
against?
Are you voting for us or not?
You supported the first time,
So, a motion to
But did she?
approve.
Wow.
That we use bid number one.
Okay.
So let's do it again. Motion to approve bid number one. Those in favour and those against?
Went to a total protest.
Not a protest. That's not a protest. I'm happy with either, but I just think one better than the other. Anyway. Okay. I believe we have concluded the formal part of the meeting. We will briefly, as we have been often doing, just open the meeting again to public participation. If anyone's got any comments or points. Yes.
Further to the neighbourhood plan, I spoke to Colin briefly when we was looking at the exhibition in Anthony Hall, and I had one massive fear about the paperwork you wouldn't put around the village, voting for it, is the total apathy in this village of people that don't really want to participate. We've had the numerous number of planning applications that have gone through in the village and the objections, and when you look at the population in this village and the number of objections, that alone tells you that there's quite a high level of apathy in the village. And I think if the documentation isn't worded correctly, and may I use the word shock tactics to get people in this village to understand what is going on, then I'm afraid it could be to completely no avail.
Well, we understand the apathy.
It is a major thing.
But we can't use shock tactics.
No, but when I say
Yes.
shock tactics, I don't mean sending in
No.
stormtroopers, but
No.
you know what I mean.
Well, we are going to put a flyer through everyone's door,
Yeah.
telling them basically that the neighbourhood plan, this is their chance
Yeah.
to have some say.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's going to be their only chance to
Yeah.
have a say.
Mm.
There's not much more we can do about that.
No, I understand that. Yeah.
And we have to go through the process. I mean, if the plan, we will go through with it and we will produce a neighbourhood plan.
Yeah.
If there is not enough thing, the inspector presumably will go through this at the end of the day and say, well, I'm sorry guys, but you only had 10 people who said they wanted something done.
Yeah.
Your plan fails.
Yeah.
Then no one can accuse this parish council of not doing their utmost
No, I wouldn't.
to provide some. No, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's a criticism. I'm just saying we've done our bit.
Yeah, yeah.
And if the villagers won't do anything about it, well, at least all of us can turn around with a
Yeah.
clear conscience when they whinge at us
Yeah.
and say, well, did you vote in the neighbourhood plan,
Yeah,
sir?
yeah.
If you didn't,
Yeah.
that's why
I
you voted.
just got this massive thing.
You are probably absolutely correct, but we
Okay,
can.
can we, as it
do what
is
we can.
very late, we
Yeah.
totally appreciate your point, yes.
Just a couple of quick ones. The working party that you've got coming in, doing the works on a Wednesday, quite agree with Leslie, those boards do need rubbing down and staining. Just
The notice boards.
the notice boards, yeah, they definitely need doing. Just as a word of extra thought, could we not use them in the youth club? As it's so tired, dilapidated,
But to fix,
just spruce up the building.
we possibly could, we need to speak to the.
All I'm saying is
Club.
it's big enough to take 8 or 10 of them,
Good point, actually.
and it gives them 4 weeks' work.
And it's close, isn't it?
It's next door, they can watch over them.
I'm not sure that they're good at maintenance. They've not said
Well, even if
that.
it's
Well, even if it was a lick of paint.
Yeah, lick of paint on the walls,
But
it's terrible.
I agree, I think it's a good, we could look more into that. And we obviously need to talk to the committee of the youth club, but we're meeting with them anyway. So.
Sure, and as far as the poo bin, I wasn't even aware that was even circulated. If Jill posts it tomorrow morning, I can certainly get it on all the local sites. If you can stick it.
Here until Monday.
When has all the answers got to be back by?
April.
So if you post it Monday,
Yeah.
then certainly through a little bit of wizardry, I can get it round all the local sites, and then no one can say they've not seen it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And my final point there, you know school holidays are coming up. Obviously you've got massive plant that's sitting out there at the moment. Is that likely to be gone for the school holidays?
Machinery.
We're
Thank
told
you.
Friday. And we've got our fingers crossed for Friday, off this week.
I'm only thinking because of school holidays you're going to be drowned in kids.
I'm going to say they'll be lost in the wheel tracks anyway.
Any other comments on the topic?
Can I bring something up, Liz? I don't know if it's the parish council's problem, but from your house down to King's Cottages, take a little walk along there with your dog. All the verges in a dreadful state, and a lot of it is to do with the farmer who's taking in hay into the field just this side of your house, comes out of the gate onto the verge, then crosses over the road. Now, about 3 weeks ago, the council came and swept all the road. It was lovely. It's now 1-2 inches deep with mud both sides of the road in the actual road. And if it freezes over, to me, that is a hell of a danger to people on bikes, cars, because it's so bad. Last Friday, it was completely from, let's say, Dayler up to the nursery end, because he goes down every night, and so he comes out of a wet field and it's all over the road and there's no attempt to clean it whatsoever. But the verges are in a disgrace over along O'Callaghan side. I'm not blaming him for it, but the whole verge, you've got to actually stand on the path and see what the verge looks like.
He re-killed it all, that's why it's like that.
It's terrible.
He re-killed it last...
No, somebody's been running all over it. It's all ruts, all the way down.
Running with wheels,
Transport on it.
Yeah, unfortunately that's outside the 30 zone, isn't it? So that
Yes,
comes
it
under
is.
County
Okay,
Council.
we can contact them, can't we? And
Yeah.
raise it.
But
TFB.
the mud is down in the 30 anyway, because it
Yes,
comes
it's
out
down
that.
to my house, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. It's dreadful. And if that freezes over, to me, that's one big danger to motorists and people on bicycles.
Okay, thank you. We'll raise it with the appropriate. Okay, any other points on the topic? Okay. The date of the next meeting is also the first Wednesday in March.
And make that the 2nd of March.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yes, it's a leap year.
Lily,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And that goes to the next meeting, so the meeting is now closed.